NFL draft just a couple of days away. Mock drafts going into their final ones. Take a listen to Chris Simms from NBC Sports, who he thinks the Browns will take at 26.
You know, I look at the Browns, and I had a tough time with them here. I did. I ultimately go with Zaven Collins from Tulsa.
Okay.
And this might be out of the mold of what they really want. But, you know, middle linebacker, you've heard me talk about it. It's so important to this scheme. You know, whether it's Miles Jack or, you know, Bobby Wagner or Fred Warner or Darius Leonard. You know, it's Deion Jones in Atlanta. It's all the same defensive scheme. They got to have that athletic guy that, can run sideline to sideline, but also gets asked for a middle linebacker to do some pretty interesting things in their zone coverages to where you got to be athletic.
So there is Simms talking about who he would take with the Browns. Let's bring back in Jake Burns from the Orange and Brown Report. What do you make of it, Jake?
Again, I feel like a broken record. I just keep saying it. I'll believe it when I see it. I think Zaven's a fine player. He's 270. He can run. For his size, he can move well. He's got good coverage metric data from his college days. He can get after the quarterback a little bit when they send him inside. The same with Jamin Davis, who's a freak athlete who tested through the roof, and he's got the size. There's a kid that not many people talk about from Missouri named Nick Bolton who didn't test great, but if you watch the tape, like that guy's a vicious interior linebacker. And then another guy that I don't think he's a linebacker. I think he's truly a hybrid player. That I would just call a rover. I wouldn't even peg him as a safety or a linebacker. It's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. He gets the linebacker peg. He might not even – I don't think he'll even be there at 26. But that grouping of guys, I keep JOK on its own. I would take him in a heartbeat. But the other three, and even into the guys like Jabril Cox from LSU, who's just a fuzz older than the type of player they look for, but is a fun athlete and has got some great coverage stuff on tape from his LSU year. There are exciting linebackers. Pete Werner from Ohio State is an interesting player. If you can get Baron Browning, another Ohio State guy, to get into the right spots for you, he's an interesting target. I just don't know. Like the Zaven, Jamin Davis types that are early type of guys on a people's radar. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not a big I told you so type of guy with the draft. I want to understand your reasoning for it. So if you take Zaven or you take Jamin or you take even like if it's Owusu-Koramoah, tell me why. Why did you need that? Why did your defense need that? What's your thought process? It's a big thing the Browns like to talk about when they send up scouts and different things. They give us some good insight into their thought process. And I think from a media's perspective that is league-wide, they look at the Browns roster and they see names. They see Denzel Ward. They see John Johnson. They see even Greedy Williams' name and know the investment they put in him. And they see Jadeveon Clowney. They know Miles. And they think, who do we not really know much? Well, who are the Browns linebackers? Can they improve there? While kind of ignoring all of the information the Browns put out and their recent track record of not taking that position. So I'm not going to be a person who says, man, I cannot believe they made that gigantic cataclysmic mistake by selecting a linebacker at 26 or whatever. I think that there's an opportunity for that player to be really good, but I, again, will be pretty surprised if they go against the grain and make that selection.